Hello and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Trendz Travel, coming to you all the way from Menlyn on Main, right here at Times Square. As always, I'm your host, Louise Scoble, and you're watching Trendz Travel. Poppie Nongena tells the story of a South African isiXhosa woman whose life revolves around finding stability for herself and her family. The book was originally written by Elsa Joubert and is widely regarded as the best-selling African novel of the 20th century. That book has now been made into a movie.
Daar is telefoon vir jou. Maar wat gaan aan? Brand en Pietie kan ons. In the movie Poppie Nongena, the film, I play Poppie Nongena. And it has been a journey playing Poppie Nongena. It has been an honor for me to play Poppie Nongena and to go to the depth of pain, the depth of experience of life that she went through. It has been a great honor for me.
How did you prepare emotionally for this film? I'm sure you had to tap in some of the very difficult emotions to execute this character.
You know, that's such a difficult question to ask. And I believe as an actor, it's either you've got it or you don't. Because if I have to go to a crying moment, I prepare for it emotionally and physically. Also, I have to know when to drop the tears. But it's there. I can't specifically say to you, this is how you go through it, this is how you do it. It's either you've got it or you don't.
Maar ek het daaraan om te gaan nie. Dis af jou huis gee. Wat help ek het huis daar, maar my hele lewe is.
Wat verstaan jy nie? Jy hoort nie.
Jy's 'n immigrant in jou eie land.
Well, as a black female, I always look back. People want to know if Poppie Nongena is still relevant. Yes, it is still relevant. I have a past. I had a granny who worked in kitchens. She was a maid. And the story of Poppie Nongena, I relate with it so much from all the stories that my granny told me. We have aunts who are still working in the kitchens today, who are still home managers. No more maids, no more helpers, but home managers. And they are going through so much. And the question is, if I have to have a Poppie in my home, would I be asking her, Poppie, what did you have for breakfast this morning? How's your family like? Do we even care as people who hire them to work in our homes? And Poppie Nongena, for me, she is still relevant, and I still can identify her to my grandmother.
Let's talk about the cast. I see there are very big, interesting names that are cast next to you. Who are some of those cast, and what can you tell us about them?
As you can see, we have Nomsa Nene, we have Anamar van der Merwe, we have Rolanda Murray, we have Chris Talaba. A beautiful cast, an experienced cast, well-nurtured, well-marinated cast. A wonderful cast you have worked with. And not only the cast, also the background cast. It was awesome to have them on set. You know, for me, forgetting about, yes, it was a political journey, political experience, but also humility. Let's go away from it, asking ourselves, who are we? What legacy are we leaving behind? Poppie Nongena has left a legacy of saying, I have stood for what I believed in. I have fought for what I believed in, even though she had to separate herself from her kids and her husband, but she stood her ground. For me, it's humility, understanding who am I, where am I going to, and what kind of fight am I fighting? Is this baton gonna end here with me, or am I passing it on? Poppie Nongena has definitely passed that baton on.
Now, if you enjoy a good meal and you enjoy art, then art jamming is definitely for you. But it's not a place where you can view art, it's the place where you actually do the art yourself.
Jamming to those meticulous brush strokes and the sound of splatters of paint, this is the right kind of groove to jam to at this social spot. From the young to the old, as long as you don't mind getting your hands dirty. They say that art is a form of expression. What do I say? I say let's put that theory to the test. Today I am at art jamming to see if I do have some artistic expression within me. I am not a very delicate person. I'm more of an improv kind of person. So we're gonna see if I can remain calm and create a masterpiece. I've always fancied myself an artist, darling. Once again. To ensure that you ease into the painting process, you can have your favorite beverage or meal served when you need to. So, Cindy, thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you so much for coming.
Art jamming, it's so unique, so funky, and I like the fact that it caters for all kinds of people, different age groups, different walks of life. Whose concept was this?
So it's not a unique concept. It actually comes from overseas. It's an Asian concept. It's been brought to South Africa. The first branch was in Cape Town, and then we've got a branch up here in Johannesburg, Melrose Arch.
So here you can come and paint as well as enjoy other people's company. You can have your meal, you can socialize. Isn't it a bit intimidating for people that just are very not confident when it comes to holding a paintbrush like myself?
So art is for everyone. Even though you think you have to be Picasso, you don't. It's actually just about bringing your creative spirit to this space. And our staff are all artists, so they do assist you where required. But it's more just about having fun and letting loose. You know, we're so black and white and working with figures that it's nice just to kick loose and do something creative every now and again. So generally over the weekends we just have walk-in sessions, and you're more than welcome to pop in and start painting. The restaurants do deliver food and drinks to us. And then during the week we have corporate events where you can book the studio just for your team as a team builder. We do product launches, baby showers, bridal showers, anything you want. We add a creative spin to it.
The last time I was here, I wasn't so confident with my paintbrush. I don't think the artwork came out the way I wanted to, but today I'm willing to give it a shot again and see if I can create a masterpiece. Please take me through the process.
Sure, why not? Let's go and have fun.
This type of artistic expression can get quite messy, so putting on an apron before you start is the number one rule. Once you're geared up, you pick a piece of art that you would like to paint. And then it's time to create your very own masterpiece. It's true what they say, you can't rush art, so take a break and nibble on something. Phase 1, guys, to be continued. Meticulous artwork is detailed, so every step is vital. Even Picasso had a muse, and my coach today is mine. Well, more like a go-to guy when it comes to sketching those finer details. How do you ease a client like myself into relaxing into the kind of art that they do?
Okay, for most clients or most customers that come here, basically when they are panicking, when they're in panic mode, when they don't know what to do, we just usually give them a guide, you know, explain to them like they can do certain things like tracing, they can splat paint, they can do whatever they want, as long as they're comfortable with whatever they're doing. That way they don't have to freak out, you understand? So in most incidences, we usually assist them with doing whatever they are doing.
So guys, here is a completed artwork by me. This is my masterpiece. It's exactly how I'm feeling inside. So I expressed myself through painting. I feel quite good about it, but let me ask the people in the room what they think about my work of art. I want to show you something. Yeah. This piece of work, this artwork next to your artwork, what does it say? As an artist, how do you interpret such majestic work of art?
I think it's pretty good. It's like a sunset over Joburg. Yeah, it's quite cool. Yeah.
Oh, but you paint really well. What's your name?
Jodine.
Jodine.
Hi.
Do you come here often?
No, it's the first time here.
Wow. So how do you get to paint like this?
I've always been interested in art, and like whenever I get bored, I just draw. So I think that's where it comes from.
So no one taught you how to draw anything?
No, my mom's quite artistic, so I think I got it from her.
Nothing beats a feeling of owning that artwork that you created.
Now we'd love to know how the new month, new year and new decade is treating you, so why don't you let us know on Twitter or on Instagram. That's on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag SABC News.
Sorry, what's the Wi-Fi password?
And bracket 15,000,005 written out.
For every kind of serious birds, there's a glass of not so serious. Come fill yours with flying fish pressed lemon or chilled green apple. Get a case of 24 330ml handies for only $219.99. Only from Tops at Spar. Not for persons under the age of 18.
Now, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, every single country has their very own brand of pottery. Now, Nadia takes us to a gallery in Johannesburg, the Kim Sachs Gallery, where we take a look at some pottery and some masks.
Ceramicist Kim Sachs has traveled all over the world collecting different pieces of traditional ceramics and handmade metal pieces. We went to her gallery in Johannesburg.
I've got this fantastic book which I really treasure called Earth and Ore, 2,500 Years of Terracotta and Metal in Africa. So as Africans, and myself included, because I've been making pots since I was 12 years old, which is a hell of a long time, okay, the African continent has been home to potters and people working with the earth in many different ways of transformation. So here we've got a horseman, and it's a very distinctive piece from Mali in West Africa, and it's made by the Dogon people. Okay, and the Dogon, yeah, they're extraordinary people, and they're incredibly talented, and you can see in most traditional art there's particular features which are very clear immediately to the person looking that this is from this particular group of people. What's very interesting is that when one takes earth from the ground, whether this book is talking about metal or terracotta, which is clay, okay, one is looking at notions of transformation, okay, and the potters and the metal workers in Africa traditionally, still to this day, are expected to live on the periphery of the village, because people are quite scared of them, because it's really weird that you dig a blob of mushy clay out of the earth and you work with it and you construct, say, a pot, and then you let it dry and you put it in a fire, and it transforms itself into a hard vessel that can hold things, that doesn't melt when you put water on it. And the same with metal. People dig the metal and they beat it and they put it in the fire and they beat it some more and they bend it and they work with this metal that comes out of the earth and the fire and the person involved. And it's also it's a bit shamanistic. It's out of the normal realm of everyday people, and people are quite wary and a little bit scared of people who have these powers, because it's a power of transformation. This group of vessels here is really interesting. These are made by a particular sister of a family called Nala, and they live in Nkandla, okay, in KwaZulu, and they are probably the most famous South African contemporary ukamba makers in the country. Okay, and the ukamba is traditionally used for brewing sorghum beer.
The different decorations on the pots have significance and meaning, like this one, signifying fertility and reproduction.
Okay, so when we carry on with the thread of metals and clay, so we've looked at notions of how the clay from the Dogon horse to the Zulu vessel, and then we come to a bronze piece. Okay, so this is the metal element, okay, of the conversation. So this horseman is made from bronze, and it comes from Chad, from northern Chad.
Metal pieces are normally found in West Africa in countries like Chad and Mali, and also Nigeria.
So Nadia, you've got this thing about masks in Africa. So, and masks in Africa and in many parts of the world, a masquerade, you have a masked ball like they did in old England. And whenever people place another face in front of their own, it almost becomes a theatre. Okay, it becomes there's a whole ceremony of enactment. So with this is called a pinch pot. So I started with a ball of clay and expanded it and made this pot by hand. So there's no machine attached to the construction of this, and then I shaped it for hours and hours and scraped it away. And then when it was quite firm, before it got dry, I started to make these decorations, these marks. And what's very interesting, it's almost metallic. So it's made from this black clay that's loaded with metals. So this clay is quite interesting because it kind of straddles and bridges the terracotta, which is the low-fired clay, and the metal, because it's clay, but it sounds like a metal bowl. I make it. I construct the clay from different minerals. Okay, and then I also wash different clays that I dig in the Cape. On the side of the road, I harvest these different colors of clay, and I grind them up, and then I put them into the lines. So so lots of alchemy, lots of chemistry, lots of dancing with creative spirit.
Stay tuned to Trendz Travel. You know.
The internationally acclaimed rock and roll musical, The Rocky Horror Show, finds its way to South Africa right here at Monte Casino, and of course, Trendz Travel was there.
Wait here.
I play Riff Raff. I'm really Frankenfurter's sidekick, and I'm a bit put upon, probably, by him. But if you've seen any of those old horror films or sci films, there's always like a hunchback sidekick, like Igor, and that's pretty much who I am.
Sort of butler.
Yeah, the butler, the undertaker.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you've arrived on a rather special night. The master is having one of his affairs.
Lucky old him.
Yeah, he's lucky. I'm lucky. You're lucky. We're all lucky.
All except Eddie. Eddie?
The delivery boy.
His delivery wasn't good enough.
The Rocky Horror Show is a cult phenomenon. It's a musical, I think, that just about everybody in the world should have heard something about. It was created by Richard O'Brien, again, who is probably mostly synonymous with the role he played in the actual movie of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And as he says, you know, if you read anything about the show that he talks about it, he says that it's an alternative pantomime and a little bit of fun. But I always laugh at that because I think most audiences around the world know it as a lot of fun. It's a great time in the on stage in the theatre. But it also has some, packs some potent sort of themes such as sexuality and gender identity. But at the core of it, I think it's kind of crept into everybody's hearts over the years. The songs everybody knows, very, very well. And again, Richard calls them simple ditties, but everybody knows the tune to the Time Warp. It's one of those sort of famous songs. I think everyone knows it so well. They sing along, they dance in the aisles.
With your hands on your hips.
And these characters are beloved characters that people know super well.
Between us, we cover five characters.
Yeah.
We also have 5 wig changes.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy. I've always been a fan, and playing Magenta has always been a dream of mine. I'm playing Usherette and Magenta. When I heard that they're auditioning in South Africa for an international production of it, I was so keen just to get involved, and
well,
here
look
we
at you
are.
now you've got the role.
I've been wanting to play Columbia since I was a little girl. The first time I ever heard the Rocky Horror soundtrack was from my dad, and he used to play the Time Warp over and over again, and he used to have to rewind to Columbia's section because that's all I wanted to do was Columbia, and I used to impersonate her vocals and her voice. So look, I'm getting goosebumps. For me to be Columbia in Rocky Horror Show is so sentimental, and haven't spoken about it for a while. And so she's just amazing. She's my alter ego. I feel like I'm connected with her, and it's also great that I can dance the role. I'm able to vocally sing her, act her, and tap into all the highest levels of those genres for Columbia and be the best triple threat possible for her.
We have Craig Urbani in the lead role of Dr. Frankenfurter, and he brings a wealth of experience. He's done so many musicals both internationally and here, and he's just an absolute delight in this show. He brings the right amount of masculinity and campness to the role. Talk about funny, he finds the humor in every single line. A great stage presence.
I play this outlandish, crazy character who is an amalgamation of lots of sci-fi movie characters, sort of all rolled into one. Sometimes he wants to be a man, sometimes he wants to be a woman, sometimes he wants to dress up like a woman, sometimes he wants to be forceful, sometimes he wants to be gentle and soft. So he's a sort of a dichotomy and a bit of a contradiction, and that's the charm of this character. Very, very colourful creature indeed.
It's the Rocky Horror Show, so the show is really about Rocky, and I think we've cast a great character. He looks fantastic. He's got that blonde hair. He looks like that real beefcake kind of character.
Rocky he's newly born. He is Frank's creation in the show.
I've been making a man with blonde hair and a tan. It's good for relieving my.
He's created for Frank in terms of a lover, really, but yet he finds this deep love for Janet, who's this woman. So I love that. But he still loves Frank at the end of the day. So there's no judgment.
So this is the world tour, so it's on a very higher standard. And also, if there was any production that you need to see of Rocky Horror, or that I would have wanted to be a part of, it's definitely this one. That's why it is the international tour. It is a world standard.
This is the Rocky Horror Show, and you're watching Trendz Travel.
And that's all we have for you in this week's edition of Trendz Travel, coming to you from Times Square right here on Mainland on Main. I'm Eloise Scoble, and you've been watching Trendz Travel.